Hi, everyone. Welcome to the next stage. My name is Rebecca Wallace. I am your host tonight. I'm also the marketing director at City Lights. I'm so happy to see you all again. Thank you for being here tonight. Oh, we were just talking to somebody who lives out of town saying, I wish you could see the show because it is such a delight. It is really, really, really lovely. Oh, we've got one of our actors coming in late. Oh, how shocking. How does that ever happen? So happy to see you all. I think, as I said in the, Karen's like, "Ah, hey, I'm an actor too, so I'm allowed to say it." We are recording tonight, and this show will be shown on City Lights YouTube later on. So you're welcome to have your camera on or off, whatever you like. So many of you have your cameras on, and it's making me really happy because I'm seeing all these lovely smiling faces. Thank you all so much for being here. We have got a great, hi, Lauren. We've got a great group tonight. Ooh, someone with an interesting name just entered the room. The Rock Poster? We'll find out. We have got lots of folks here tonight from Blithe Spirit. We have our director, Mark Anderson Phillips. We have actors Lisa Millette and Kyle Smith and George Pasaras. And I believe we're also going to have Georgia Ball later. And we may, if we're lucky, get caught. There she is, costume designer Pat Tyler. Hi, Pat. So nice to see you. We also have our props designer, Karen Leonard. Hi, Karen. Lovely to see you. And we've got one of my favorite City Lights folks, marketing and executive assistant, Carol Diaz Aristia. And she's not officially on the thing, so she's sort of covering her face like this. But, we all love Carol. So we're excited to have her here. Ah, it's good to be back. I didn't host last month. Yvette Del Toro did. She did a great job, but I kind of miss being here with y'all. So yay. Welcome. Tonight we'll be talking about Blithe Spirit. I have, as I usually have now, because I love to do this, a lot of photos from the show that the cast hasn't seen yet. So it's kind of fun to pull them up and show them from time to time. Lisa is already covering her face. I think it's important that you know right away that this is a very serious group and that they never have any fun. So I thought I would start with this one. Very, very serious. And Pat, I think you're in the back. I can't see you. So it looks like Ron is yelling at nobody because I think you're hiding behind Maria.
I'm hiding. Yeah,
I think you're hiding.
Yeah.
That's a great shot. And, they actually are very serious and lovely and pose beautifully for photos as well. So it's okay. All the photos you're going to see tonight are by our company photographer, Christian Pizzirani, who does a really, really beautiful job. And we just love him. So, you know what? I introduced folks, but I think it makes more sense if we also have folks give a quick hello and say who they are too, so you can see them. You might not be able to see all the boxes. So, Mark, can you just give a hi and say, hi, I'm Mark, I'm the director?
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm the director.
George, can you wave hi? Say hello, I'm George. I see you, George.
Hey, I'm George. I played Charles.
Charles, of course. And Lisa, tell us who you play.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I play Madame Arcadi.
Yes. And Kyle, where are you, Kyle?
Over here. I'm over here. Can you see me
There
now?
you are.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
are. Hi, Kyle. Tell us who you play.
I'm Kyle. I play Dr. Bradman.
Lovely. Not everybody could be here tonight from the cast, but I think we have an official quorum, so I'm thrilled with that. Mark, why don't you start us off? Tell us a little bit about why you love this play and why you love Noel Coward. You've also said he's breezy and wonderful, but also deceptively tricky. Tell us about your
Yes. I mean, he's one of our most, I think, one of our most treasured writers from the 20th century for sure. And I've done only one play as an actor of his. I did Fallen Angels at TheaterWorks years ago, but he's just got a really great sense of language, and he writes precisely and beautifully, and and when you sort of read the scripts, or you see them done well, they seem extremely like, oh, this is just easy and breezy and fun and lovely, but it's actually a lot of work to make his language work in the way that it needs to. It needs to. There's lots of sort of things that you have to do to make it successful, I think. He was very adamant about pace in his shows. I watched interviews that he did on TV, that are on YouTube that he did years ago, and he was always very adamant about keeping pace as part of. Pace was one of the most important things that he wanted in his shows, partially because they're very long. And this play is, 133 pages long, and the challenge is to try to make it seem like it's not as long as that. That's that's one of the main challenges that we had. Yeah,
It's true. I noticed one of the reviews has pointed out we've got really great glowing reviews for the show, and one of the reviews said, yeah, like it's a 3-hour show with 2 intermissions, and that's not something that we're used to nowadays as audiences. And so you all come into this show with a big challenge. No, you've got to make this fly by. I mean, I think you absolutely succeeded. It doesn't feel like a 3-hour show. I've seen 90-minute shows that have seemed longer than this one.
well,
But
that's
it's a
good.
challenge. Yeah. I mean, it's got to go like lickety split.
Yeah, and
And
I
then
feel,
also in
like,
dialect. Oh, sorry, I was just
I
saying, and
mean,
also in dialect. So people have to be able to understand the accents.
right, right. People have to get used to that, and that's something that takes a little while. But Noel Coward was, he sort of was like, well, the first act can just sort of go. You don't have to worry about laughs. You don't have to worry about, don't worry about stepping on reactions in the first act. Just get the first act out, and then everyone will be with you for the second act. And that's that. And he actually, I think he was right about that.
Yeah, because there is a lot of exposition in the first act. It goes by super fast, but there's a lot
Yeah,
that has to set up. And then once it's set up, it's just go.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you know everybody at the top of the second act, then that's when the comedy happens, because everybody knows who these people are and what the problem is, and that's when it becomes funny.
I would venture to say it. There's some funny stuff in the first act too, but yes.
There is, for sure.
And a call out to our dialect coach, Richard Newton, who has worked with City Lights before. Kind of a joy to have him back. Did he work with you in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or was he not in that show? He was.
He
Nice.
did.
Nice.
Didn't
Very
he, Lisa? I think he did, right, George?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, he
he
did.
did. Yeah.
Calendar Girls also. Was he with Calendar Girls? A lot of this Yorkshire. Pat's nodding. Pat was in the show. Yeah, all the Yorkshire accents. Yeah, terrific. Thank you, Mark. That's a great intro. Well, one of the hearts of the show is we have Charles. Oh, poor Charles. Poor Charles. He's a novelist, right? He's got writer's block. He's trying to make things work. He convenes a seance. He winds up with 2 wives, which leads me to my next favorite photo. And I love this because it almost looks like he's posing for the photographer, but he's not at all. The photographer just caught this perfect moment.
That's
We have
great.
Yeah. I'm so sorry we couldn't have Maria Marquis with us tonight. She plays Ruth. She's wonderful. And I think Georgia Ball, who plays Elvira, is going to jump in later, which is great. And again, poor Charles winds up in a sling. And I'm not really sure what Elvira is doing there, but it is kind of fun to watch.
She's denying any wrongdoing.
Denying any wrongdoing. Okay. George, one of the things that think about when I watch this show is I'm so used to seeing you in dramatic roles at City Lights. I mean, we've seen you in The Elephant Man and the aforementioned Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Ideation. And we even have sort of a joke around here with the production photos that there's always the brooding George photo. And I mean that in the best possible way because you are photogenic and the brooding George photo works. But we didn't really have a brooding George in this show, because you're also really darn funny. And it's great having you back doing comedy. What was it like coming back to comedy at City Lights?
Super fun.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned the brooding shot. I thought if there was one, it was going to be right before that moment, or a couple, like, because that down right sort of corner there was a moment right after the Bradmans leave where I get a little broody and I'm like, what just happened there? And Ruth asks me, is everything okay and stuff. So there might be ones in there. But I'm like, oh my gosh, to be in a farce and a comedy, like a pure comedy. I've been in dramedies there and comedies and dramas with comedic elements and stuff. And, Ideation for the most part is a comedy, but it was a dark comedy. But for this to be a period piece and a farce, which is like pure comedic, it's a joy. And, you throw in Mark, our fearless leader, as our favorite director, leading the ship here, and it's a no-brainer. So it's super, super fun. And I like what Mark alluded to earlier, deceptively so. Because deceptive, when I first read it, I'm like, okay, this is a lot, but it's super fun and doable. And then I started to work on it. And then it's like, and then you have to know it, and then you have to really own it and really shape it vocally, shape it physically, shape it as an arc in itself over 3 acts, all those different things. And we find all 3 of those elements physically, vocally, and over a general arc in different times in the rehearsal process. As you're learning the piece, you start to learn out what you're going to do physically. And Mark is such a wonderful actor's director that I can say, make sure I'm not doing this, or he can point me out, say, you're doing this here and there, and like, tell me exactly where I'm doing that so I know when to fix it. So you kind of just like, you attack it kind of all at the same time, and then very specifically throughout the process too. So a ton of fun doing a comedy, but once you break it down, you have to sort of have a game plan. Otherwise, you'll get sucked in.
Yeah, and there are a lot of moments where Charles loses it. And again, I'm referring to one of the reviewers. I've been reading all the reviews today. You have to lose it in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's repetitive.
Oh, exactly. And that's one of the things that when we were getting to run throughs, Mark knows I have a recurring line, a couple of recurring lines here. He's no coward is like, it's like if he's Bach, he'll add this little phrase per character over the pieces over and over again, right? Now then somebody says, now then Ruth, or somebody says, now then this. And everybody, Lisa has her own sort of cowardisms that he decided to give Madame Arcadi. Mine is, every time I'm exasperated, it's, oh God, or oh my God. And I'm talking to Mark earlier, I'm like, or probably later on in the process, is like, how do we make those different? And it used to be every time I said, oh God, or oh my God, I would cross right or cross left or this thing. And so we peppered in a few, oh my God. You have to vary it up because it does get repetitive in some ways. And, but you have to find ways to paint with a lot of different colors. Otherwise it does get exhaustive for me too.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. And then of course there's poor Elvira, and poor Ruth.
Exactly.
And speaking of poor Elvira, Georgia Ball has just joined us. Hello, Georgia.
Hi.
Elvira. Welcome.
Thank you.
We were talking about lots of stuff. I love that you brought up Bach, George, because George is also our resident sound designer and composer. So that makes sense. And you mentioned Ideation. Ideation was also directed by Mark. George was in it, and it was also the last time that Lisa was on our stage. Lisa, welcome back to the stage. As you may or may not know, who does not know this, that Lisa is also our executive artistic director at City Lights. So thrilled to have her back on stage. I think that, Lisa, I now need to show you a couple of photos of yourself that you haven't seen yet. Are you ready?
I just want to preface this by saying our photographer apologized to me.
Where's my spotlight button? There it is. Look at you making magic. I don't remember this moment, but I'm just happy to look at it because it's cool.
She's telling me where to put the seance table.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That is what I'm doing.
right.
That's what it is.
Thank you,
And-
George.
And right now, also, please, big shout out to our costume designer, Pat Tyler. I mean, just look at Madame Arcadi. Look at her look and her cool necklaces. And Pat, where did you get this cool pattern thing she's wearing over the red thing? What is this?
The cut velvet vest.
What is it? Oh, it's a vest. Yeah, I guess it's a vest. It's just so
It's kind of a drapey long vest with fringe on the bottom, and it's cut velvet.
Ooh.
I sourced that all, I hunted all over Amazon.
I was wondering where you were going with that, Pat. I'm like, oh, over the interwebs.
Yeah. Amazon. You too can own Madame Arcadi's vest in 5 different colors.
Pat, you're destroying the magic.
I know. That's my job.
Oh man, Madame Arcadi, it's a look. And I'm going to get back to you, Lisa, but I also have to ask Pat this question.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn this off a minute so you can actually see my face. Where's my button?
Where are you? There you are.
I know there's so many buttons on this screen. I don't know. My husband set up the computer and it's way too fancy for me.
Yeah, and speaking of which, mine says the Rock Poster Society because this is my husband's iPad. Because I turned on my computer and it said you have to update your software to join this. Then I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
But I have to ask you a question before we go back to Lisa. Sorry, I just, veered you. Okay, so I don't think there's anyone here who hasn't seen the show. And I hope this isn't kind of like a costume reveal spoiler. But the interesting way that Madame Arcadi alters her costume to ride on a bike, which I find just fascinating.
That was not, this was not originally my idea. We just facilitated it. I believe that it was either Mark's or Lisa's idea. Mark's idea. Mark's pointing at himself. It was Mark's idea. And then Lisa brought in a belt and we decided, well, this is the perfect belt because it would be, Madame Arcadi would just be finding some old belt. It wouldn't be any big fancy belt. It would be very utilitarian. And then we just worked, for like 5 minutes on how to get her to hike up the skirt, how the mechanics of it.
It's an interesting look.
And then one time there was a discussion of, well, maybe her bloomers are showing. So then I got her some like what used to be called petty pants, those like that slip with legs, so that when she hiked up her skirt, we got a little glimpse of her bloomers, which I thought was quite fun and eccentric.
It's pretty cute. Now, is this what people did in 1941 when they rode on a bike?
Does it matter? I don't think so.
No, it does not. It doesn't matter. I was just curious. We're getting some nice comments in the chat for folks who can't see them or who are watching later on YouTube. Like Lauren says the costumes were also brilliant, and Dan says that was a wonderful moment, hilarious.
The laundry. I thought this was appropriate. The laundry for this week is behind me, so it's the glamorous life of a costumer. But yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was quite a lot of fun because I love collaboration and, I think on a show where everybody's got ideas and is invested in the characters and what they mean, listening to other people is so important, not only the director, but the actors. I mean, I'm an actor. And so I know I want to feel comfortable in like the character on stage. So I never want to have somebody go on stage and feel wrong about what they've got on. So, and the way you do that is to listen, especially to the director and their vision for the show and then actors and their input. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll own the kind of the color, the way I try to tell a story through color, and things like that. But other than that, and then finding looks that are appropriate, especially in a 40s piece, you need to have them look like they're in the 40s. You can't, so, but yeah.
Well, you succeeded beautifully. And
Thank
some of you
you.
also may recognize Pat from On Stage because she was in The Hollow as the inspector. Always
Little
happy to
different.
have you back. Different, a little bit different. Yeah,
Little
yeah,
bit, yeah.
yeah. Before I ask Lisa a question, I want to show one more picture of Lisa. And this is Lisa and Georgia. Another great look from Madame Arcadi. And Georgia's got a great look on her face, and Georgia wears the same costume. She doesn't have to change. She looks lovely.
No, that's it.
Oh my gosh.
I
Lisa, tell
smell
us what's happening here.
ectoplasm.
I'm smelling ectoplasm strongly, clearly. Rebecca.
That's right. Smell, because you can't actually see her at that moment. You're just sort of trying to
I
find
never
out.
see her.
Yeah.
I sense her, but I never see her. Which was actually one of the most challenging things about this play.
Yes. Yeah. Tell us a little more.
Oh, null coward. I underestimated how difficult it and how fun, how much joy, but how difficult it would be to be on stage with artists that you're not supposed to see or hear. See or hear. And part of that is because my acting training and just the type of person I am is very connected to other human beings. I'm super into listening and answering, reacting in the moment as if it's for the first time. I'm much more of an inside out character developer than an outside in. I don't think either is better or worse. I'm not comparing them. I'm just saying that's how I work. And so to me, the eye contact, the passing of the energy, the rhythm, that is like how I roll. And then I just underestimated how hard it would be to have acting partners on stage that I technically am not supposed to see or hear. So what a fun challenge. But like there's a couple of things with Georgia specifically. Georgia was sitting in rehearsal. We were in rehearsal and she's like, Lisa, can you let me say that line? And I'm like, oh, so sorry. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. But I'm not supposed to hear her. So in my mind, my lines are actually connected. My thought is connected. This line is actually connected to my next line because I'm not supposed to hear her. But technically, the actor is supposed to let her say her line. So it was my mistake. But it is, quite the challenge and super fun. And then when Maria dies, I can't hear or see either one of them.
Spoiler.
We're supposed to do cue pickup, trying to get that puppy to fly as fast as we can, still be clear, still be real, still be heard, but stay right on top of cues. But I can't look at the person or take that energy from them if I'm not supposed to see or hear them on stage. So there's a couple of there's quite a few in Act 3 where I'm looking at Mr. Condamine, George, and those are only the scenes that Madame Arcadi, those are the only lines that are actually happening in my world, but my cues are behind me with stuff that they're saying. I have to keep the energy with George and wait. It's really weird, but
fill
fun.
it and fill it. And Maria has to do the same thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm the tortured.
I'm the break.
I'm the tortured one on stage into between the ex-wives.
You hear everything.
But in that way, I have it easy because I don't have to fake that I can't see anybody.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
In that way, it's super easy. I don't have to do the game that Maria and Lisa have to do.
It's really
that's
fun,
funny.
but I did underestimate how difficult that was going to be, because I'm such an open, like, bring it actor that I'm ready to look and take in whatever happens. And in rehearsal, I kept doing that. And I'd be like, oh, I'm not supposed to look at you. Ooh, sorry, I'm not supposed to see you. So even there's this one time where George has a line and I turn around to look at him and he is directly behind Georgia. But that is where he is. So I just pretend like I'm looking at him and then take my next line to get closer to him. But I'm hoping that people are buying that I'm not looking at the back of Georgia. I'm looking at him.
Wow.
But she just happens to be right in front of him. It is really, I mean, it's fun, but it's technically really tricky.
That's so interesting. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
There are sometimes, like, even when you're not playing I Can't See a Ghost, sometimes you got to cheat it because it just looks good on the staging. For instance, when the Bradmans come in, I can't see Ronit. I can't see Mrs. Bradman, but I know that Mark has cultivated and built a picture that looks nice and that looks good. So I pretend that I can see her when she's at the door because I'm looking through two other people's heads. There's some ways you can cheat that in our set, and I probably could, but that's just sometimes a functionality of cheating in theater in anyways. So
I'm looking through two people's heads. I never expected I'd hear you say those words, George. And in the chat, Kyle's saying, did Madame Arcadi break into the condominium house for this Zoom call? Yeah, she probably did.
Where'd you get that picture?
After the staff meeting today, I asked Ron, our brilliant set designer, to send me a couple pictures so that I could do this.
Yeah, and shout out to Ron Gasparnetti, who could not be here tonight, but that set. Like, who among us could
live
not
in
live
it?
in that set?
I want to live in it.
Yes,
Thank
I know.
you, Geri.
So good. Yes, Carrie says, Lisa, you did a great job pretending not to see or hear them. It was very believable. Agreed.
One of my favorite parts, and this is all Mark. Mark is my favorite director. He's better at directing than I am, and I run the company. Is when he has me trying to find her, chase Elvira around. When I say, where is she? And I'm looking at Mr. Condamine's eyes and trying to find Elvira. I mean, I do get a little winded, but it is so fun to, like, just barely miss Georgia as she's walking by. I just have so much fun with that.
Yeah, that's some choreography right there, Mark. That's impressive.
Yeah, they got this like infinity figure 8 thing going on, and I'm just like watching. It's like watching bumper cars, like that don't actually bump.
Well, after all this, we need to hear from Georgia too. Hi, Georgia. Welcome to City Lights, by the way. Your first show, City Lights. I'm sure it will not be the last. It's been so much fun seeing you on stage and looking all old Hollywood in every picture. You ready to see a picture of you haven't seen yet?
Okay.
I feel like this is your life. Georgia, wow, this is your life. Here we go. It's really cute.
Yeah, there's
total old Hollywood. Look at her. So glamorous. Yeah, this outfit that Pat has put you in is beautiful, and you kind of shine in it, and it's just, it's so pretty. And then I really like this one too. That's a really nice shot.
That's a good shot.
That's a good moment. Now I have to know, I'm going to remove the spotlight, click on there, click on that. There we go. Elvira is a dream role for so many people. Was Elvira a dream role for you? Were you familiar with the play? Did you love it?
I wasn't really familiar with the play until I saw the audition notice, and then I really dove into it, and I was like, I need to play Elvira. I knew from the second I read it, I was like, this is the role. And yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun. It's just as fun as everyone like thinks it is. Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, she just she causes all kinds of trouble, which I love. And one of the reviewers praised your portrayal as very cool and mature and was like surprised that you're a San Jose State student. So I thought that was kind of a neat compliment.
Yeah, that's
that.
cool. That's fun.
Are you involved with drama at San Jose State? I think you are, yeah?
I'm a theater major. Yeah.
I am not surprised at all. How's your experience been with City Lights? Are you enjoying the company?
Yeah, wonderful. Now everyone's extremely welcoming, and I've met some wonderful people. And yeah, I'm really happy to be a part of this team.
Oh, it's so great. And it's what a fun way to get to know the artistic director by tormenting her on stage.
Oh yeah.
While you're in
the ballet.
It's so great. Love it, love it. I wanted to just say at this point too, if other people have questions, feel free to type them in the chat. I will we'll have more of a like an open, everybody has questions at the end, but feel free. I've seen a couple of them pop in. Hello, Kyle. I have pictures of you haven't seen. Are you ready? I have a very nice one.
I'm not ready.
I love this one. Tell us about Dr. Bradman. What's happening right here?
Oh,
if you remember
great.
that moment.
Well, he's talking about how George is making some market irrelevance. He's in conversation as one does. That's what people do. It's very amusing.
And he has some of the great skeptical lines too, of just not really being there for the whole seance thing.
Yes, exactly.
Do you have a favorite line?
How fortunate that you grew out of it.
Yes. Nice. Mark's got a thumbs up. I have a nice seance photo too, and this will show Ronit, who plays Mrs. Bradman. I love this shot of her. I love this shot.
That's a fabulous picture.
Wow, that's a great picture.
There is a lot. Hey, Mark, tell us, what is going on here? What is happening at this moment?
I think Lisa's about to faint, right? Do you think that's right?
I'm about to Tommy Tucker.
You're about to do Tommy Tucker and
we're gonna
go into her
we're
trance.
about to Tommy Tucker.
And Kyle and I are, spoiler alert.
Oh, well,
not unless there unless
okay.
there's a question. Not unless there's a question.
Oh, it sounds like there's some talk that I don't know about. Ooh.
I'll refrain.
Wait, I know what Lisa's going to say. Actually, let me turn this thing off so you can actually see my face. Hi. I did want to ask if we wanted to talk about how some of the special effects were done. And it sounds like Lisa's not sure if she wants to.
Oh, I feel like if these folks showed up for this Zoom, they can find out what they want.
Right.
I just didn't want to offer it unless there was a question. And they can't like tell, all you folks don't go on social media and say no spoilers.
Okay, here's what we'll
look at Nancy. Nancy's like, I won't.
I wasn't gonna say it, by the way. I wasn't gonna say it. I was gonna allude to something. We're doing other things.
No, I think we're good. I think so. Here's what we'll say. We can talk about some of the tricks of the trade if you don't want to. So sorry, Madam Arcadi. I'm so sorry, Madam Arcadi. Sorry, my accent's terrible. I don't have a dialect coach. If you don't want to hear it, you should step away from your computer for a few minutes and then come back. I want to hear about some of the tricks of the trade. I will not. Oh my, I know. And I work for City Lights, but I had not seen the end of the show until opening night. And I will fully admit that I was like a small child in the front row going, with the book. Oh, I was like one of my little boys. So the end of the play is so wonderful when all the things fly off the shelves and things break. And Mark, do you want to reveal any of the tricks of the trade? How any of that happens?
I mean, the end is, you can probably figure out how most of the stuff is done. I mean, at the end, one of the things that I wanted to make sure we did was have Charles turn the lights off at the beginning of that sequence, because darkness is always good for these kinds of things to work better. Usually it's done in full light. That last speech is done in full light. So we had it. We made it dark, and basically Ron came up with a bunch of, there are a bunch of sort of plungers behind the walls. The entire cast is involved in the final sequence. Everyone's doing something, multiple things. So that's kind of a wonderful part of this whole experience, is that everyone is like backstage going, "We're in a haunted house." Woo! And there's like there's plungers on the bookcases that push the books out, and things that they can pull behind the wall that make the pictures drop, and that's basically how all of that stuff works. And then with darkness and Ed's lighting, so that we are looking in the right place at the right time, that's what sort of sells it. So, but everyone is involved in it. It's like all 9 people, no, 8 people backstage doing stuff. Yeah.
And sometimes there's like a little hole that goes through the wall, and it's painted.
Wait, what are you saying, Lisa?
There's like a little dowel.
Lisa may or may not be revealing one of her tricks.
and then you have to squat down and then push it and pull it really fast. And it's so fun.
Okay, I thought I was like a little kid. This one is like, look at you, Lisa.
When we were working on this sequence initially during tech, Lisa really wanted to do more during, and so we were like, well, maybe we can figure out something where you like push the fireplace screen over, and so we were checking it. We were going through it, and we hadn't rigged anything for the fireplace screen yet, but Lisa took it upon herself. She found a board backstage and like, so at the appropriate time, this 2x4 comes out of the fireplace and pushes the fire screen over.
like an oar on a kayak.
Yes, it was so funny.
And I didn't tell anybody. And I thought this is a really good idea. I'll just take a piece of wood and nobody will notice.
It was hilarious.
And the funny thing is, I wanted to do it so bad. And I have George has that whole monologue, but I am saying cheerio and good hunting. Like I am kind of there near the end of the play. I have to run all the way around.
I didn't realize you didn't tell anybody.
No, I didn't tell anybody. And I'm sweating and I'm like squatting down inside of that fireplace, and I'm so excited.
And you're thinking everyone's going to be all impressed with your ingenuity.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like I just.
And you said something like afterwards, like, well, you were like, maybe they won't be able to see it. This giant piece of wood coming out. Maybe it'll be so dark they won't see it.
But Becky, the funny thing about that sequence was true is when we started teching it, and everybody who wasn't in the scene was in the house, which is everybody, because I'm the only one talking.
Right.
At the end, and like slowly, like somebody made a suggestion, maybe we can get a little more help, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody assigned Georgia and Maria to like open the doors at the end. And all of a sudden it was like everybody wanted to be part of this one sort of big family sequence on like doing the final thing. And everybody slowly, the seats kept getting empty and empty and empty. And everybody just had a job or multiple jobs at the end of the play. And now everybody's working at that end part.
Yeah.
So it didn't start off that
That's
everybody
so
was
cool.
involved. Yeah, it was very cool. Which speaks to the group and speaks to, the energy that we have together. So
And
Definitely.
And I think, but the coolest trick in the whole play is the seance table.
Yeah, do you want to reveal it? Because I don't know how you do it.
It's also the most painful trick in the whole.
All right, Kyle, you have to tell us now.
And all the pain comes before we even do anything.
So the trick is we have 2 butter knives, one on each hand, under our shirts, and they're secured by two nylon straps with Velcro on each arm. And to support the knife well enough to lift up the table from underneath, you have to tighten the straps until you lose circulation in your fingers. That's how you know it's tight enough. And was it Ronique said your fingers were throbbing, George?
Yeah, like my 2 shows ago, my fingers were like pulsing red, and we have to have fingers touching for the seance.
Oh, fingers must be touching.
Fingers must be touching, and then like I'd have like Ronique's cold fingers touching my blood boiling hands, and then Maria's touching the other one. I'm like, oh, this is like an ice pack. This is great. So, but sometimes you tie them a little too tight because you want the table trick to work.
Yeah. And at least the favorite moment of the show for me, taking those straps off and restoring circulation to my hands.
That's your favorite moment. So that's why you stopped when I asked you your favorite line, because you're thinking, no, I have a favorite moment, and it's not a line. Speaking of favorite moments, can we just give a shout out to our Edith? I mean, how great is she? And I don't know how to pronounce her first name. Please, someone say it for me.
Skylar?
Skylar. I didn't know if it was Skylar or Skylar. Okay. Skylar. The balancing act that she does with the this and the this and the everything on the oh my goodness. And then so opening night, was she supposed to drop those ice tongs? Were those supposed to be on the rug? Okay.
No.
Because that was so well done. I mean, of course it falls and she looks at it and she can't pick it up because her hands are full. And then, right. And so those of us who are in the audience, probably Mark included, were like, wonder when those ice tongs are going to be picked up. So Renee stepped on it and I was afraid that she was going to fall down, but she kept going. And then Maria stepped on it and I was like, this is interesting. But then Elvira threw a rose at her and she bent down, picked up the rose, picked up the tongs, put the tongs there and the rose there, like, and went on as though nothing had happened. And I thought, yeah, I knew it. There wasn't going to be a problem after all.
Well, it's funny, as an actor in the audience that night, and I saw that happen, I could hear everybody's brain that actually registered that the tongs were on stage. I could hear them all go, okay, when can I get that? No, I can't get it now. When can I get it? Oh, yeah. And you could kind of almost hear Maria going, she's going to throw a rose at me and it's going to fall down. And then that's when I can get them. It's so great when you see something like that. You know, the only thing you hope is that everybody notices it. I was worrying that somebody was going to step on it and not know it was there. But that's the kind of a thing that's just amazes you about actors' brains, that, you know, you can be on stage in character and have some part of your brain going, how can I solve this problem that's come up live on stage right now?
Yeah. Yeah. And so for a second I thought, oh, was that meant to be? I'm like, no, I don't think it was meant to be. But it was sort of fun watching it because I knew the actors were such pros that I knew someone was going to deal with it and it was just going to be no big deal. It was only a matter of who was going to deal with it. Yeah. Like you said, it's an extra level that you have going in your head as an actor. Oh, but Skylar is just, God, she's funny. So funny that like the like slowing down, the slow down walk, and then the carrying the things and just her face. She's got a million different expressions. She's new to City Lights too, I believe. Is that right, Lisa? Mm-hmm. Good. Mm-hmm. Let's get her back. Does anyone who is watching tonight want to ask any questions? I'm going to look in the chat, see if I missed anything. I'm going to need those butter knives back. Who's saying that? Karen Phillips.
That's my wife. No.
There are knives. We need them. We're short on butter knives.
Make sure you take the gaff tape off before you use them again.
Like, sticky.
And Karen Leonard, did you want to comment on some glasses that may or may not have been broken at some point? How many martini glasses did we go through in the making of this show? Karen, our props designer.
Oh. It's a secret.
It's a secret.
It's all a secret. I don't know. When you were talking about how Skylar was like balancing, you know, my wife was sitting next to me, you know, we loaned City Lights the tea set and the coffee set, and we're all like, is she really gonna drop us? And I'm like, she knows what she's doing. Because my wife was like, is she acting? I'm like, yes, she's acting. It's okay. Calm down. It's okay.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Karen,
If
we've
I
got
could
a
tell
funny.
a story from
Yeah, go ahead.
from the last scene where we're doing tech, and I get to launch 3 sets of books. I have 3 plungers upstage of the piano, and Ron had said he doesn't want it to look like the books are just falling off the shelves. He wants it to look like they're being thrown off the shelf. So I'm putting everything in this top plunger, and it goes flying on the piano, and someone says, "Oh my God, that's Karen's leaded glass vase. Don't break it." So it did. They moved it downstage, but my next shove was a little farther, so it actually did, I think, tumble to the stage, and thank God it didn't break.
Oh.
And Ron said, "Well, she should know better than to bring her own stuff to the set."
There you go. I've learned.
When you told that story, I wasn't sure which Karen you were talking about, so I was watching
Yeah.
both of their faces to see who was worried about the face.
I'm sorry, Karen Leonard, props master extraordinary.
That's right. Karen, so happy to have you back. This is interesting. Speaking of Karen Leonard, in the chat, Dan Hill, who is a regular
Yes.
on the Backstage, thank you for being here. Dan says, shout out to the cucumber sandwich cameos and the moment of horror when Lisa bites into one, because as we know from the Hollow, Karen makes them from styrofoam and candle wax.
I know. Yeah.
That's right. Karen was on this show talking about how she made fake cucumber sandwiches. Lisa, you didn't ever actually bite into one made of styrofoam, did you?
Nope.
I make the real ones.
Yes, she makes the real ones. Yes.
Did you make the ones we had at opening night?
I didn't, but I gave Wendy the recipe.
Well, they were delicious. Thank you for the comment, Dan. Yes, Karen has been on talking about, Karen, when you were on, you showed us how you made sandwiches. I'm trying to remember what else. You had a bunch of different things.
All I remember is the cucumber sandwiches, because
Yeah.
the wax kept, in the fire and, well, the smoke. Oh, the chocolates. The chocolates.
Yeah, oh, the chocolates, yeah. But what I marveled about was your attention to detail with cucumber sandwiches from the Hollow, because you had little snippings of dill, of pretend dill, and it's like nobody in the audience can see that, but
Right.
we all knew that they looked super real.
I know. And then Lisa told me that she felt like she needed to add dill to the real ones because I put those in there.
So
Nice.
it has fresh dill and chives.
Yeah. See?
Very nice.
I will say that's another challenge for this play is eating and talking.
Yes.
course.
Always, right?
The timing of really like
Yeah.
taking a bite and timing when you speak with a mouthful of food is actually quite tricky. It is not easy.
Yeah.
Again, filled with joy though. Joyful.
And that white bread kind of has a tendency to stick to the roof of your mouth, I think.
Well,
Isn't it?
I stopped using the white bread because of that. I had to use something heartier because
one night you came off and you were like, everything's.
oh yeah. No, it like got wedged up by my molar and I was like, I'm just gonna spit this right at Maria and it's not, I can't help it. Yeah, I have to use something that, because cucumbers have so much water in them that you add like the water of the cucumber and then that fake white bread situation. And like, you just, you're never going to get that out of your mouth. So
just eat the styrofoams, Lisa. It's much better for you.
Well, here's another funny little thing about the cucumber sandwiches is that I try to eat the whole triangle at the end of the play in Act 3 before I dump the cucumber sandwiches into the bag.
Yeah.
And I can never get it done. I can't, because I don't want to be eating during the stuff about love, talking about love as a psychic force. I just feel like that's not an eating section. And I don't want to be eating when I'm figuring it out about the Sudbury case. So there's very little time to eat that sandwich. So there's always one little bite left. So before I run around to get inside of the fireplace, which we now know is so exciting for me, I have to pick out the piece of real cucumber sandwich that I just dumped into the bag with the fake ones every night because I don't want Miranda to have to do that. I'm like, she shouldn't have to do that. So I always do it.
I love it. We have a question in the chat from Lauren Doyle. Thank you, Ms. Doyle. Question, what is the process for preparing for all of the movement? So much running around and throwing stuff. I joked about about choreography. I mean, that's a whole other level of this play.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
well,
yeah, go ahead.
no, well, I mean, Ron gave us a ginormous set, so I felt the need to have to fill it, and we just, were always working on. I'm always thinking about both sides of the house and giving love to both sides of the house. So people are on one side for a little while, and then they move to another area and things like that. And yeah, and everybody was just really amenable to sort of working with being on the go at all times. And I think that actually helps the pace and the storytelling quite well. So
Yeah. Lisa, did you have something you want to add to that?
I'm just old and I have to warm up for like a good 20 or 30 minutes physically, or I'm going to pull a hammy. Like seriously, I'm rolling around. I'm passing out. I'm doing yoga on stage. I'm covering a lot of ground in heels, and my children didn't understand why I was walking around the house holding my lower back. And I was like, you'll see. And then I realized it got better if I warmed up properly. I mean, these are instruments, all of it. And if we don't warm them up properly, they don't work very well. So now it's better, but I really have to not take it for granted, like we are wont to do as human beings, take things for granted. So now it's better, but yeah, it is like not easy. And I used to be a dancer a bazillion years ago, but it was a bazillion years ago. So thank goodness some of that stuff comes back. Not all of it, but some of it. But it's definitely really fun. I also just really quickly did see that we missed a question from Paul Resch.
Oh, thank you. What was the question?
Something about why this role for me.
Oh, it just popped up. Thank you, Paul Nancy. Yes, of all the roles that have been available in all the plays at CLTC, why did Lisa choose this one? Great question.
So I didn't. Mark did. I mean, I said yes after like 3 months, but I guess Mark really is an amazing director. So being in a creative room with him is a very special experience. And I have not done a full-on comedy in the almost 22 years I've worked for this beautiful organization. And I used to do a lot of comedy. So Mark was like, it'll be fun for your people to see you be funny. And I was like, oh, I guess it would. And at first I was like, I'm not that old, but the script says anywhere between 45 and 65. So I'm like, all right.
You're the right age for this role. You're exactly in the wheelhouse.
Even if they do usually cast people that are even older than I am, I was like, that could be fun. And also because the time is coming for us to get a new home, and I've loved this space with my whole heart. So many beautiful stories have been done in that warehouse. And so to me, it was a way to just get to experience it one more time and kiss her goodbye from that side of the stage, from that side of the moat, as we say. And that felt important to me. And getting to do it with people that I care about, Mark and George, it was important. And it's so fun.
And you get to throw wood through the fireplace and stuff.
I do. And when do you get to do an extended downward dog on stage in
Absolutely.
pants that Pat Tyler made?
Not enough. Not often enough. Yeah, Dan makes a reference to your bio in the program, saying that this is probably going to be your last appearance on this stage. And so we have so many people coming up to you after the show saying, "Are you leaving?" Like, no. Lisa's not leaving. We're looking for a new home for the theater.
We
So-
changed it, by the way. We're going to do a
Yeah.
new program run because of that.
Yeah,
Like
because
3
so many
people a
people
night
think
saying,
leaving.
"No, you can't leave City Lights." I'm like, no. That's not what's happening. So we changed it.
We are coming up on our hour. I have one more question to ask, but if anybody else wants to ask a question, now's the time. Okay. Mark might be the person to answer, but any of you might be. Do any of you recommend any of the movie versions of Blithe Spirit? I have thoughts about the most recent one, and I'm sure people will talk about the 2021. Does anyone recommend any of those?
The one that was made in 45 by David Lean is probably the closest to something that Noel Coward would approve of. And it's quite good. It's very good. I mean, Margaret Rutherford, who played Arcadia on Broadway, is in it, and she's fantastic. And I think Kay Hammond, who was also in the original production, she's in it as well. And David Lean directed, and and Rex Harrison is in it. So it's very good. It's very funny. It's very good. So that's the one I would recommend. The one with Judi Dench that is fairly recent I would not watch that if you want to watch Blithe Spirit. You can watch it if you want to watch something else, but it's not Blithe Spirit.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've read some of the reviews, and
Isn't it a complete rewrite?
Yeah, it's really wacko. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I'm sure
it's
Judy-
like 8% on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. Yeah.
Sounds pretty
yeah, it's misguided. Yeah.
Did anybody get to see Angela Lansbury play Madame Arcadi? No. Yeah, I know one of the reviewers, David Jean Chavez from the Mercury News. He said he had seen that version, but he gave our version a great review too. Tough act to follow, I know, Lisa, but he loved your performance. Yeah, it's such fun to have a comedy. Thank you all for being here tonight. Anyone else have anything to add or anything to ask?
I just want to say really quick, I just want to thank, I have the ability to choose the actors that I get to work with, and I choose people that I love, and I feel very fortunate to have found a group of actors who were so skilled, and many of whom are my dear friends. But I also just want to say that I feel really blessed with the design team that was on this show. Karen and Pat and Ron and Ed and George and George. It's like you have no real control over that as a director, but I was super blessed. Everyone I mean, this show is a really prop heavy show and really hard, and Karen did an amazing job, and Pat, I don't know, I mean, the costumes are gorgeous for this show.
Thank you.
They're just gorgeous, and
Thank you. It was great working with you. I mean, it's the I don't know, to serve a director's vision is kind of part of what a costumer has to do in keeping her own ideas alive too. And at work, I mean, I appreciate how you work so much. So thank you. Thanks. It was great.
It was one of those rare moments where, like, design-wise, things really came together beautifully, and it's very rare when that happens. It's happened to me only a few times in my life, so it was one of those moments where you just like looking at it. It's sitting in the audience and looking at it and being like, this looks really good. It just looks good, and I want to live in this house. I want to wear these clothes. I want to play with their teacups, all that stuff. It's just a delight. So
Well said. And I think we all agree. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you all for being here tonight and living a little bit longer in the world of the show. We will be back on Zoom for our next show, which is The River Bride, which is a beautiful play inspired by Brazilian folklore. And that should be interesting to have a discussion on Zoom about that as well. But until then, if you love the show, tell your friends and have a safe evening. And we'll see you soon back at the theater. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
all right, thanks. Good night.